Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on the Lexus GX470 again. This is my father-in-law's car and he's had it for almost 20 years and it's starting to fall apart. There's a lot of maintenance items that I've been working on. There's a lot of maintenance issues on this video series that I've been touching on in the last couple of videos. And on today's video, we'll go ahead and replace the belt moldings right here on the doors. So these things are basically deteriorated from sitting out in the sun. All the rubber's falling apart. The inside felt's all falling apart. So today we're going to be replacing it with an aftermarket set that's only $30. So stay tuned. We're going to be putting in today is these new aftermarket belt moldings for the doors. These things are for the GX470 along with the Toyota Prado over there in Japan. As you can see, they only come in a black, not the chrome that's for the Lexus, but they fit perfectly, the right size and dimension and everything for the Lexus. And they're only like $33 or so, so they're very affordable replacement. If you guys need these same ones I ordered off of Amazon, check out the links down in the description. So they come with a new felt liner and new edge and everything to reseal the edge against the window. So these will be a perfect replacement for the aged and worn ones on the car itself right now. So as we can see on here, the OEM chrome ones on the car itself already are pretty much worn out. All the rubber has deteriorated and started coming loose on the bottom here. And if you look down the window, those things are all gone. That felt molding and the rubber seal on the inside there is all deteriorated and gone. So this is a perfect time to be replacing these things so we can actually seal this off and we'll keep dirt and dust out of the actual doors. So removing these things are pretty basic. There's a Torx bit right here on the back of the front door, and on the rear door is on the opposite end closer to the hinge. So here's the rear Torx bolt on the rear door. As you can see, that's the only bolt that's holding this in. Other than that, everything else is a compression fitting into the actual door itself. There's actually a little lip and everything on there that you got to pull out. So that's the hardest part of taking this thing off, is getting that edge right there. So the only thing that this thing doesn't come with replacement is the rear molding right here on the rear quarter window. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to actually clean this up, tape the edges on the bottom here where the rubber's already deteriorated, tape the top off, scuff this up, then I'm gonna go ahead and paint it with a matte trim paint just to try to match it to the front so it looks good. So if you study the new ones, you can see the bottom part here is actually got a little J hook in it that actually holds it into the trim or the actual door, and we got to figure out how to get a tool or something in there to pull that little trim piece out. And once we pull that out, this thing should come up. So you just got to start on one end and work your way down to the other end. I've seen some people use like a little metal tool to kind of hook that edge and pull it out. So we're going to be taking apart this bolt first, and once we take that off, we're going to try to pull this thing off non-destructively. But if it doesn't budge, we might just have to pull out some pliers and grab the top and just yank this thing up, since we don't care to reuse it. If for any reason you had to do this and preserve it and not break anything, you probably need to get a special tool that helps you pull it up. But for our use, we could just yank this thing out with some pliers or some vice grips and just call it a day. So it looks like if I push it forward and lift it, it comes up a little bit. I'm gonna try to pull it backwards. Okay, pulls right off. If you just pull it back towards the back of the car, it comes right off. As easy as it was to take off the front, hopefully the back is just as easy. You just want to grab it, try to push it towards the back of the car. All right, got it's already bent here, so I'll just go ahead and just yank it off. There you go. Yeah, it slides back. Once it slides back, then you could just, things popping everywhere on there, but it's out and it's pretty destroyed. But if you're not going to reuse it, like in our case, it doesn't really matter if you bend it or mangle it. Now that we've got it all taken apart, this is a perfect chance to go ahead and clean all this dirt and debris out of here before you put the new one on. So we're gonna pull out some super clean, go ahead and just put it on a rag and just scrub it down. Alright, I couldn't take that mirror off because the screws and everything are behind the door panel. So what I did was I just put a little bit of silicone grease right here on the tip, and that lets me slide it right into that hole where the mirror is and line it into place, and that way I can line up the back piece and screw it in. What you're gonna do is just get it into here, slide it a little bit on the rail, and then just tuck it underneath that mirror corner and just push it in as far as you can go. And then you want to line up the back of here with the hole before you snap it in. So you want to make sure that when you snap it in, it actually lines up with this hole in the back and it doesn't go offset too much. So you might have to adjust it by a couple millimeters. Once you do that, you just snap in the front and work your way back. There's a couple periodic tabs every like 4 to 5 inches. You always want to make sure that it snaps down enough so it grabs that edge. And once we do that, we want to screw the back part in. Right there, that's pretty good. Everything's bolted down and held in place now. So on the back here, this little seal on the edge has a provision to actually screw into the new molding, but our new moldings don't have a screw, so a lot of the guys I see just end up just cutting that little piece off. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut that off for here. Just flush, and then once we get our new piece in there, if your piece is loose, you might want to just put some new 3M tape right here just to hold this thing in. So pretty much installing this is just like the front. We want to make sure we snap in this back piece, the green tab that goes into here first, and then want to just line up the front. That pretty much does it. That's a pretty easy install on the rear. The rear is much easier than the front just because you don't have that mirror to tuck under. As you can see, everything went back nicely. The windows rolled up fine. We have a nice seal now that's been missing for a couple years as this thing was falling apart. The only thing that I can see right here with it being aftermarket, the middle part here kind of bows up a little bit because it doesn't snap in tightly all the way, but it's no big deal. The front's being held by the mirror, the back's being held by the screw. The rear piece right here fits really well. You can see there's really no bowing or anything on the rear. It goes in pretty straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the install on the other side on a time lapse. So we'll go ahead, tape this up, scuff it, and do some black trim paint to try to match the front. All right, I pretty much masked it up as much as I could. I'm gonna just be spraying that little stripe right there, so I just wanna make sure I don't get too much overspray anywhere, but this is good enough. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other side, and then we'll get this prepped up and painted. So to paint this, I'm gonna go ahead and scuff it up with a gray 3M pad right here. This gray 3M pad is like 1,000 grit or like an 800 grit. Go ahead and scuff that up. I'm gonna go ahead and use some SEM XXX adhesion promoter. This is gonna help the paint stick. Once we're done with all that, I'm gonna go ahead and put the regular trim black I have here, just a couple coats of this to get it black, and we should be good. Just remember, after you scuff it, clean it with some alcohol or some paint prep just to make sure you get all the grease and oil off of it before you do any adhesion promoter or paint. For the SEM adhesion promoter, you want to put in one light coat, give it 5 minutes, and then one heavy coat. Let it dry for 15 to 20 minutes, and then you could top coat it right after that. So I already put in that first layer. I'm gonna go ahead and put in the second layer, and then wait that 15 to 20 minutes and start painting. So to use this, we wanna go ahead and put 2 or 3 medium coats on here and let it dry about 3 to 5 minutes between coats. I'll go ahead and let this dry for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll go to the other side and finish that side, and then we'll just go back and forth. So we let the first coat dry, and it's got that matte finish that we're going for. So that's pretty good right there. So this is about 3 minutes in. I'm gonna go ahead and put another coat on here and let it dry, and then back and forth we go. Man, that match came out pretty good. Look at that. When you compare it to the front, yeah, that's pretty nice as far as the match and everything, and just the matte finish of it. As you can see, I put some 303 protectant on this just to get it shinier and protect it from the UV, and that gives it the semi-gloss just like the new ones on the back here that I just painted. So that looks pretty damn good right there. Thanks for joining me all the way to the end of this video on changing out these door moldings. As you can see, it was a pretty simple install, especially if you didn't care about destroying the old moldings. I think the hardest part was trying to grease it to get that thing into the mirror. Other than that, everything else snapped in pretty easily, bolted on pretty easily, and then we did that little touch of actually touching up or doing the trim paint on the back part, which is the hardest part, I think, as far as taping everything up to make it look clean. I'm very satisfied on how well it matched and how everything turned out, especially since they don't make that rear piece as far as the aftermarket version. That is a replaceable piece from the OEM, but since they don't sell that aftermarket, we have to do the okie doke and paint it. If you guys found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel to stay on top of all my different DIY videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn on bell notifications to get notified every time I upload a video. For all these different projects, whether it's on the cars, on the house, in the garage, or whatever I'm doing, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.